Hi everyone, it's Anne here from annshappystampers.co.uk and I'm just back with another tutorial. And today I've come up with this lovely little box that we're going to make. This is done in Pool Party and a little foxy DSP. And it's just got a little ribbon closure, and then you just take this off, and then the top comes off and basically the front comes down, which it holds a lovely candle. Now I think it's really pretty and a great way to gift a candle. Now the candle, I haven't stamped on the candle, I've actually used some heat resistant acetate, and we're going to do that in the video because I know quite a lot of people have problems you know, stamping on the candles with the wax paper and everything. Some people just cannot do it really, so I thought that was a good little alternative way to do it. And then obviously the person can just, when they're going to light it, if they light it, peel the acetate, just take the acetate off, and you know, they've got a nice safe candle. So we're going to do this one in different colours and stuff as I usually do. So I'm making, for the base, I'm using Delightful Dijon, and this needs to measure 7 1/4 inches by 9.5 inches. The centimetre inches will be on my blog, okay? And then you're going to need 5 pieces of designer series paper. I'm using the, is it Petals and Posies or Paisleys and Petals? I'm not sure. But anyway, you need 5, and they all need to measure 4 3/8 by 2 1/8. Okay. And I've also, you need, for the lid of the box, which I've actually forgot to cut out, so we'll have to do that together. The lid needs to measure 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. Okay. And you're going to need to lay it on the top of the lid. I've cut a piece of copper foil which needs to measure 2 1/4 square, then a piece of Delightful Dijon which is 2 inches square, and then a piece of the DSP which is 1 3/4 inches square. And the acetate for the candle needs to measure 6.5 inches by 1 1/4 inches. Okay. And from the Paisleys and Posies set, I've just cut this little flower. Where's the die gone? I don't know what I've done with the die, but you can cut this out, and I've just done this with copper foil as well. And I honestly don't know what I've done with it. It's probably gone in the bin. I don't know, I'll have to find it. Right, okay. So let's get cracking with our box. So we need to do some scoring first. So pop your card in on the long side, and you're going to score this at 2 1/4 inches. So 2 1/4 inches, 4 1/2 inches, 6 3/4 inches, and 9 inches. Okay, turn it to the short side and you're going to score it at 4 1/2 inches and 5 inches. Okay, so you should have that. And that's for your candle base of your box. Now we're just going to fold and burnish our score lines here. Now you've got 2 score lines here, okay? The bottom one, obviously fold that for there, yeah, but the score line here, don't fold that, just leave it, okay? And then we're going to take our we've got 5 pieces of our DSP, so take our 5 pieces and we're just going to attach these to our box. And I've got a new toy so I'm going to use this to attach my DSP because it's just a bit quicker really. Okay, so just get these nice and level. I should have had my adhesive craft sheet out, I suppose. I better get it out. Just stops any bits of adhesive sticking to where they don't need to stick really. Okay. Okay, so that is our designer series paper stuck on, which I think looks beautiful. Now what we're going to do is take some scissors, and we've got 4 score lines, so we're going to cut up, but we're only going to cut to this first score line here. Okay, so if you just cut it there, but just stop at that score line. Okay, we'll cut up all of these. And then this last one, if you cut up to there again, but then just remove this little rectangle here because we don't need that. Now our box is going to fold up and we want our seam at the back about there. So this panel here, so the second one in from the left, okay, I'm actually going to cut down these score lines and just cut from the top down to the first score line that I come to, okay, which is this one here. Then again I'm going to do the same with the other side, just cut down to the first score line that I reach, and that is what you should have. And then I'm just going to gently on this score line here just fold this back a little bit, and that's what's going to give you your drop-sided bit. So that's going to fold like that. So we're going to need some, I'm going to use some tape for this bit, so I'm just going to pop a couple of bits of tape down here. I don't want the box coming apart. Okay. And then we can peel this off. and then just fold that over and just stick your box together. Okay, and that's your little drop-sided box, and then I'm going to pop some tape, where's my tape? A piece of tape down here, and a couple of pieces of tape down here just to make sure it's secure, because obviously you're putting quite a heavy candle in here, so I would take your time and maybe even put it all the way around, because you don't want the bottom dropping out when you give it to somebody. Okay, so I'm going to stick that on there. Okay, and that on there, and I'm just going to make sure that that's all stuck down. Okay, so there is our little box, and I'm just going to get the card for this lid and I'll be back in a second. Okay everyone, I've managed to cut out the piece that I should have had cut out for the lid. So like I said, it's 4 3/8 by 4 3/8, and all you want to do for this is score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides, okay? So dead easy. One inch. Oops, sorry. Right, okay, so we're just going to fold and burnish these score lines. I'm actually really worried about this now. I've been looking for it and I still can't find it. I just hope I haven't shoved it in the bin. I'm going to have to dig the bin out now. Right, so we've got 4 little squares on each side. If we just cut up the score line and then just take a little piece out of there, okay, and it just helps it close a bit better. Just a small little section. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is the little pieces that I give you the measurements for before. The copper is going to go there, then the Delightful Dijon, and then the DSP as well. So for that I'm just going to use a little bit of fast fuse, I think, just for quickness. So some on the back of the Delightful Dijon. Just try and get this as central as I can. Oh God. Well, don't get it as central. I didn't mean to stick it down there and it stuck quickly. That's how good the fuse is. Never mind. So just central that up, and just some fuse again, and that is going to go in the middle of the lid like that, okay? And we're just going to pop some fuse on these little tabs here, just a couple of pieces will do. And then just stick our lid down. Okay, there we go, and with a bit of luck our lid should fit nicely on our box, which it does, which I think that looks gorgeous. Now, okay, so our candle. So what I've got is, where has my piece of, there it is, I've got a little piece of, like I say, it has to be heat resistant acetate if you want to do what I'm doing on, which is heat embossing. Now I've got it here. It's another one of the Sticks To products, which I do love as well. I mean, yes, I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and the purpose of these tutorials, you know, one of the purposes is to promote the products and, you know, sell them. But I also do like to use, you know, a few things that Stampin' Up don't sell, and one of them being heat resistant acetate. So I'll put the link on my blog for this and in the description bar below, but this is fantastic. You know, I just love the fact that you can heat emboss on it. You get 5 sheets, which are A4, and I think it's only, you know, £2 or £3. So that's what I'm using. And I think that the results are just amazing as well. So I've got it on this piece of scrap. Now you're still going to want to wipe it with your embossing buddy, especially this, because it does get a lot of finger marks on it. And don't worry, whatever, you know, powdery stuff's there will, you know, will just blow off. So, and then I've got the stamp from Paisleys and Posies, which is Thankful, Grateful, Blessed, and I've got my Versamark here. So I'm just going to stamp the sentiment in the middle. Now I know it's quite hard to see, and I might have to pull it down a bit here because I can't really see myself. So I'm going to try and get it where I think the middle is. Okay, which looks about there. Now when you put it on, try not to move it because obviously it's slippy. It's, you know, it's acetate. Just hold it down, and then, you know, you can hear it there, and I don't even know if you'll be able to see it actually. Yeah, you can see there where it's stamped. So I've got that in the middle, and I've also took a few of the little leaves and flowers from the same stamp set, and I'm just going to randomly stamp these around this on the rest of the acetate. You know, no particular way, just any way I fancy really. Oops, wrong one. Okay, so that's that done, and then I'm going to use the copper embossing powder because that goes quite nice with the colours and stuff that I've chosen. And then I just want to be careful not to put sticky marks on when I get this acetate. So just lift it up, and then just like with anything else we heat emboss, just pour our powder on. I just think this looks, it just looks so effective. And I think I've got it all there. Now you can see it's all ready, and then wait till I heat emboss it. I just think it looks beautiful, and I can just see a tiny little bit I've missed there. That's it. Okay, so, and it doesn't take long to heat. If you let the heat tool heat up first, it'll it won't take long. just going to brush just a couple of little bits I can see there. Okay, so hope you can see. There we go, and I mean, you know, wow, doesn't that just look stunning? I'll lift it up and show you. It just looks absolutely beautiful, you know. And like I say, I just think it's such a better way. Well, you know, for people who are struggling with the candles, stamping on them, you know, you just pop this round, attach it with a glue dot, you know, and I just think it's great. Now I've got another little scrap here of the heat resistant stuff because I forgot that I wanted to do a butterfly like what I did the other one, so just wipe that over again. I've got the butterfly from, this is from Kind of Eclectic, which is, I don't know if I've showed you actually, which is this one. I'm using that butterfly. Got some Versamark, and I'm just going to stamp the butterfly. And this acetate is, I would say it's a lot thinner than the normal acetate, but that's a good thing actually, because it goes through your punches no problem at all. You know, it doesn't jam them or anything because it's quite thin, so you can punch it out as well and die cut it as well, you know, which I'll show you in a minute when we punch the butterfly out, how easy it is to punch them out. Okay, so you heat set the butterfly. You can see it just literally takes couple of seconds and it's done really. Okay, so I'm just going to move this bit of scrap out of the way, and I've got the Elegant Butterfly Punch, and I might have to trim a bit of that off actually because I think it might be a bit too long. And then just pop the butterfly in and just line it up, and that's it. It just, you know, it punches out so easy. So there we go, there's our little butterfly and our little sentiment. So I've got the candle and some of the glue dots, and all I'm going to do is wrap this round. So I want a glue dot just on here and just wherever you want it to be, and just literally stick it on the back with the glue dot, and I just think that's fab. You know, you've got a nice decorated little candle there, and the little butterfly, I'm going to pop a glue dot on the back of him, and he is going to go there, and that is going to go in my little box, which I think just looks so pretty. And the lid is going to go on like that. And I've also, the little copper thing I popped out, cut out, I'm going to pop that there. So, oh, and I forgot, that's why I cut a fifth piece of this out, because I wanted to pop this inside of the drop down bit. So for that, because I should have done it before and I forgot, I'm just going to use a bit of Tombow, because I thought it would be quite nice to have that, you know, inside of the box when the person opens it, rather than it just being plain, you know. So there we go, we've got that there, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of Tombow on the back of here. Just dot it around. and take this candle out a minute. That is going to go, oops, just roughly in the centre of the box, like so. I think that looks gorgeous. Pop the candle in, the box on, the lid on, sorry, and I've got some of this gorgeous delightful Dijon ribbon, and I'm going to cut a length off just to tie around the box. I think this would make just, you know, great little gifts for people for Christmas. Just tidy this bow up a bit. Just snip them a little bit. And there we go, that is today's project. So I hope you like it. Oh yes, and I've got one more thing I wanted to do. These are not Stampin' Up, but lovely. Actually, my lovely downline Steph sent me these the other day, and I just thought they're beautiful, so I wanted to use one. I used one on the other one as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So I just want to pop that on there, which I just think adds that bit extra. But yeah, I think that is a beautiful gift, and especially when they open it up and see the lovely candle. But yeah, I've got one of them on there as well. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll have a go at making one. I'll put the link for the acetate in the description bar and on my blog, as well as all the measurements in centimetres and inches. Don't forget, if you'd like to purchase any Stampin' Up products, you can click on the link below, which will take you to my online shop. So I'll be back again on Sunday with another seasonal Sunday. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.